Hey, everybody, I hope you're all doing well. It's been another busy week here in Washington, D.C., so I want to get into all of it. So let's start with the big news. The government is reopened. You may not even realize that it shut down for a couple of days. Last week, the Senate Democrats, they decided to once again hold our government hostage and force employees across government agencies to essentially work without pay. It didn't get to that point because, again, we reopened it, but it could have got to that point. Now, thankfully, this shutdown is nothing like that dumpster fire that we experienced back in the fall where Democrats shut the government down. It was completely avoidable, but it did happen again here for just a brief moment. The House of Representatives had done the work that is expected of elected members of Congress. We passed 12 individual appropriations bills, many with bipartisan support, but Senate Democrats refused to pass the bill to fund the Department of Homeland Security because, as we all know, they do not want our laws enforced when it comes to immigration. Now, to put a finer point on it, they wanted to stop ICE agents from being able to enforce immigration laws so badly that they were willing to let the Federal Emergency Management Agency close while half of the nation was hit by a bomb cyclone, freezing temperatures, and ice that took out power lines and caused outages across the country. It is irresponsible, and that term doesn't even really begin to cover it. Now, thanks to their stonewalling, the House had to return this week to pass the same 5 bills again. We were going to be here, but we had to pass the same 5 bills additionally to fund these agencies, including Department of War, Transportation, State, others, at the same time that we passed a short-term continuing resolution, as you've heard us call it before, a CR. We resolve to continue the appropriations of the past, do that short-term CR for the Department of Homeland Security so that it can continue the critical work like emergency response while we continue to debate how ICE operates. Now, I'm confident that the final outcome will reflect our common sense priorities, ensuring full year funding for border security, immigration enforcement, FEMA, Coast Guard, Secret Service, other critical agencies that keep our country safe. As always, I'm going to keep you updated on every bit of that. Want to talk about something else? At the beginning of this week, I had the opportunity to join Secretary of War Pete Hegseth and other members of Congress as a part of the Secretary's Arsenal of Freedom tour at Cape Canaveral, Florida, just up the road from us. On the tour, we met with representatives from America's thriving space industry, learned about the important work that they were accomplishing right in our backyard, right in the state of Florida, met with Jeff Bezos, a number of his workers at Blue Origin, saw lunar landers that they were building, you name it. The stuff that's going on in the field of space is absolutely incredible. It was great to see 2 monumental pieces of legislation, the One Big Beautiful Bill and the National Defense Authorization Act in action, because those bills, they support our space exploration. Now, the goal with both of those bills is to advance space and advance defense projects that make sure our nation is the strongest, the most advanced military in the world. That means having the strategic high ground. The most strategic high ground anywhere right now is space, and very soon it's going to be the moon, where we develop capabilities on the moon. Now, through the passage of last year's NDAA, we ensured that our military maintains space superiority by modernizing space assets, supporting the Space Force, and investing in missile defense, satellite resilience, launch readiness. And through the One Big Beautiful Bill, we reinforce the industrial base that makes all of this possible, creating jobs, supporting American manufacturers, keeping critical production right here at home instead of overseas, and of course, reducing everybody's taxes. We can't forget that, like no tax on tips and overtime and Social Security and all of those reduced tax rates that Democrats didn't vote on. Nobody forget about that as we're moving into April and you're looking at what's going on with your taxes. Don't forget, Democrats very literally wanted to raise your taxes. Where you pay 12%, they wanted you to pay 15%. Where you pay 22%, they wanted you to pay 25%. Where you pay 25%, they wanted you to pay 28%, and so on and so on. That is very literally what they voted for your taxes to go up to those higher numbers. None of that is hyperbole in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It is completely literal. Now, what we saw at Cape Canaveral, going back to that was a clear reminder that supplying America's space missions is investing in our national security, our economy, America's leadership on the world stage. These investments, they are revitalizing our industrial base. They're strengthening our military, and they're ensuring that the next generation of innovation is built by American workers right here in Florida. I want to talk about one other thing. Huge update on something that I've been working on for the last year. I could not be more proud to share that earlier this week, the House unanimously passed a bill that I had been working on, the Medal of Sacrifice Act. You all have heard me talk about this for a long time. Maybe you saw when I was in the Oval Office with President Trump, he's awarding the first 3 Medal of Sacrifices. Very big deal. This bill, it ensures that fallen law enforcement officers and first responders are honored with the dignity and the permanence worthy of their service and their sacrifice, their end of watch. On November 21, 2024, there were 3 Palm Beach County Sheriff's deputies. They were killed. Deputy Ralph Butch Waller, Deputy Ignacio Dan Diaz, and Deputy Luis Paez. These 3 lions of our community, they were killed in the line of duty in one moment. These motorcycle officers were standing watch over the very communities that they swore day in, day out to protect, and they gave their life doing it. Now, after our community laid them to rest, President Trump and I spoke about something that was impossible to ignore. There is no posthumous medal to recognize law enforcement officers or first responders who are killed in action that comes from the highest office in our land, the office of the president. It goes directly from the president to those individuals posthumously, their families or their departments. It did not exist. And that is what we moved through the House of Representatives just this week. That very conversation, that Medal of Sacrifice, that is how it was born. This bill has earned the support of national law enforcement organizations who understand that support for police and first responders, it can't be symbolic. And just how important it is to have it come on behalf of a grateful nation from the highest office in the United States of America, the office of the president. It has to endure. It has to rise above party lines and across ideologies and communities. And that's what this does. With the passage in the House complete, the Medal of Sacrifice now moves to the Senate before it can be signed into law by the president. But we have a great number of Senate partners over there working on this, so I'm confident that it's going to get across the finish line. And as we continue to work on this, I am reminded of the families, the spouses, the children, the parents, the loved ones who have accepted the first medals and inspired this mission. While we can in no way, shape, or form repay, there's nothing ever that we can do to come even close to repaying the sacrifices. We can and should always do everything possible to make sure that we remember, that we never forget, and that we live lives worthy of those sacrifices. As always, it is an honor to serve you. I look forward to seeing you all around home, and you all take care. Hey everyone, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed the video, please click like and subscribe. I will be back on YouTube with more exclusive content, so stay tuned.